review classes, and it is the case of online review class. The presentation outline is as follows. I will speak on the overview of online CPA review classes in Tanzania, a quick environmental scanning, and then the opportunities which are there. To speak about the challenges as well, particularly for online, and key management issues as implications to most of us, and eventually way forward. And if the Secretariat will allow a discussion, then we can share some few issues on this area. To start with, we embarked online session in May 2018. We started online in May 2018, and the initial intention was reaching a group of students in a live streaming environment. So the idea was, as a class is going on in Dar es Salaam, students somewhere in Dodoma, but they have to be organized in a group with one device, and then there has to be an operator who is at least monitoring the device. They're getting real-time access. But given the need to reach other areas and to have 24/7 access, we embarked on one-to-one provision again in November the same year, 2018, and eventually it was a result of a move towards reaching upcountry students and students all over the world. We were even impressed to realize that one of our students was in Sudan, the other one was in the UK, and one was in Uganda. They were preparing, but given their roles in their offices, they were sent for some few period, 2 months, 3 months, to attend some responsibilities there, but yet they wanted the access to continue with the preparation. So we thought of it as more of a service to reach many students, and not only reaching students, it was also a move towards enhancing the quality of CPA graduates across the country, because initially there was a problem that most of graduates are enrolling themselves under a private candidate category, while there was a need is all right, that is from the chair of our Tuition Providers Association, and I forgot to acknowledge his presence as well. So let me acknowledge him in the middle of my presentation. It's not me, doesn't mean that he's the part of the presentation, but the acknowledgement is very important. All right, now, as I was saying, we thought of it as more of a service to reach many students and to enhance the quality of CPA graduates. Again, some fellow tuition providers also attempted to join the platform and to provide the service despite the challenging environment. Of course, we shall see the challenges later on. But the interesting fact about the online classes industry, it is still growing. It is in the growth stage. It has not reached the maturity stage. Unlike the physical classes, which have already matured, the online is still in the growth stage. And guess what? COVID-19 accelerated the growth of online platform. I'll share with you some statistics from our internal management meetings for you guys to see what really happened during COVID-19. As I said, physical platform already matured with the following operational threats. Speaking from business perspective now, one of the threats is customers have high bargaining power, which is good to our students. They have options to choose where they can get the quality of the service they want. But another issue is the threat of new entrants is vivid. This one we cannot deny. And I'm worried even to call it a threat, because looking at it from students' point of view, it's an opportunity to them because they get access to the best services from different providers. And again, they are taking share of big players. If you look at the CPA industry, initially there were very few big players, but now with the coming in of new entrants, the market share of big players is dropping day after day. Others come even with the strategy of offering free classes initially, which is really threatening the market. And not only that, many suppliers, do you know that we are around 42 providers currently? And guess what? Most of them are based in Dar es Salaam. So there is rivalry among current contestants. We may not speak of this part, but it's, if you observe at it very carefully, we all know there is a very strong rivalry among current contestants with aggressive reaction. If you really sit down and interpret what is going on, these are the things that we may not speak of, but they are really existing. There's low market share, an industry with very low market share and low market growth. You look at NBAA report, assess the trend of customers coming in year, session after session, almost constant. It has not crossed the maximum of 7,000 students. So here I have some statistics, and these are based on for November sessions, just to show you the trend for online customers. So total students as per NBAA report, May 2022, the good thing, the report also do trend analysis. So every information coming here is from the trend analysis in that report. November 2018, when we started one-to-one provision, this is the number of candidates who set for CPA exams. This is online student as per CFC internal records. Why did I use the internal records? It's because most of our students, when they are selecting the center, they mix between physical and online. Now at least, thank God, NBAA have given us a mandate to approve them online, but generally it was challenging. Most of them, they just enrolled. That's why if you look at the physical number of physical students, you'll find like CFC Covenant has a lot of students, but in online you may find some few students. But these are the statistics. The following session for November, 5%. So if you look, as I said, it is still growing. And again, for May session, at the 2019, the second one for online, 2%. Then it went to 9% and it dropped to 6%. Why did it pick up? This was the COVID-19 session, if you remember. Here, even the review session period was extended. I think students said somewhere in August, and like it was a bit abnormal. And then it went back to 9%. And then opportunities in these online classes, one is reaching customers everywhere. So I said earlier on, some of our students, one, I remember, he was in the UK, the other one in Sudan, na alikuwa ni mwanajeshi, nafikiri alikuwa kikazi kule, labda mchana akienda kwenye uwanja wa vita, usiku anatulia zake, anapata classes. Sasa sijui ni vita nyingine, but anapata knowledge kwa namna ya kipekee. Then 24/7 accessibility, that is the good side of it. Apart from 24/7 accessibility, unlike the normal sessions, which we know they are programmed, you have to come to class at a particular time. But with online, the classes which were recorded in the live environment are accessible at any time. So that's one of the advantages. The other opportunity, guess what? There's a very good number of students in Dar es Salaam wishing to go online, in addition to the ones in our country. At times we're even worried that it is cannibalizing the physical classes. Some students are, avoiding the traffic jams, like what happened to me today's morning. I think those who are coming from the Kurasini side will agree with me. Today morning, there was a very heavy traffic. It even costed me 2 to 3 hours, I think. There was something that caused that traffic. So instead of coming to the review sessions after going through a very heavy traffic, wasting a lot of time, someone sitting in the office, sitting at home, just continue getting the class that has been recorded in the live environment. And the assumption of recording in live environment was that if I am teaching a group with almost 100 students, and I manage to make them understand, even if there is a question that someone who would have come later and watched the same lecture had, the representative or the sample of 100 students is enough to ask the questions for others. But in addition to that, there are phone numbers to reach the lecturers to help them with tricky parts. Again, a large number of employees with tight work schedule, they opt for online. Audit firms, we have employees of audit firms, the bankers with tight schedules, they are going to this niche. Again, it complements physical provision for those who come late. Remember one of the presenters yesterday said he received a call just a day before yesterday, 3 students asking to join the review classes. And I was like, guess what? When I was coming to the training, I also received a call, a student wanting to start review classes yesterday. And guess, we are almost in the 8th week in our normal program with almost 14 weeks. So we have more than 60 or 50 to 60% coverage, someone asking to come in. You know, you may judge this student and say, no, don't come, you're not going to pass, but each student has his or her own capability. You'll never know. Some students use the period and they opt for few subjects, and if you plan your timetable wisely, each day you set 3 hours, you're doing one subject, given the time that has remained, you may even be better than someone who attended a lecture of 3 hours each week for 14 weeks. So again, in one way or another, it became a solution to the latecomers. But again, fast completion of the syllabus instead of the normal program. I know there is a relevance in setting gaps between one lecture to the other one to allow the synthesis and allow students to grasp knowledge. But again, for fast learners, why should you put bars or why should you put demarcation? Like, no, you have to come during the scheduled lectures which I have set. So again, I'm worried to assume the extremist perspective to our students. There are those who are blessed, they should do what they want to do at their own convenience. Otherwise, we'll be judging them. The challenge, number one, the challenge is it needs commitment of resources. Frankly speaking, it involves heavy investment. We have to invest not only in human resources, cameras, quality cameras, and the good thing is we are updating almost each now and then. So you find the cameras you used in 2018 and the videos you recorded in 2018 are no longer useful. You have to record the new ones. And even sometimes you do some more questions. So taxation has lots of updates. CPA Rashid was sharing just some. So you find yourself, you have to record that class continuously. Again, video experts, other human resources. Not only that, but again, we also engaged, this goes in line with the second point, which is security issues. It even forced us to engage, initially we engaged Video Cipher, an American company, to host our videos in a form that is not downloadable, but later on we had to engage another company because the Video Ciphers were not that strong in terms of security. And with IT, always security is a problem. And nowadays, guess what? Even without IT, some students are recording our lectures. As you are speaking, someone is just taking your voice note, and someone is, and given the decay in morals, even a student shares with you, this is a lecture from a certain
tuition center, listen to the voice and what they were speaking. And sometimes, given that this is business, it's bad to say, you find someone is speaking even in a negative way about a certain center, or maybe not directly or indirectly, or you cannot be taught this way, and you know you are teaching that way. And that's why I'm saying I'm avoiding using extreme perspectives, because you will never judge someone in that way. So again, security issues, making online platform a blessing in disguise. We even, some of our videos leaked. I think one of the presenters said earlier, a student was asking for a video. But guess what? Looking at the statistics, possibly it assisted us with the awareness, because the ratio was a bit increasing. But from business perspective, it was a disguise, because you have invested money, you have invested resources, and yet you're not getting the return. So like a project that maybe you are likely to lose. But on the other way, looking at a profession as more of a service motive rather than financial gain being subsidiary, maybe in one way or another, it helps. So here we are suggesting a consideration for patent rights. Regulator may also consider mandating students to undertake review classes. Of course, later on we will discuss way forward, but that's an issue. Fear of technology by some students is another challenge. And then, as previous presenters said, my sister CPA Sandra, that technology is something we cannot avoid, given the era we are in. We may just be delaying using technology, but we cannot avoid. Now you find a professional level student being worried to log in, just to switch on the computer. You know, it's something that really scares, You know, but thank God most of them nowadays, they're even accessing it via the smartphone, and we have an app in Google Play Store that once you download, you just access quickly. Again, cannibalization, the process whereby a new project takes the market share of an existing project. The physical classes now, they are dropping, the attendance is dropping, because, so you may think you are introducing a new market share, but you are either, I'm speaking from business perspective. Again, another issue is running costs are on the higher side, but apart from that, another challenge is the availability of private candidate window is a challenge, particularly for those linking it to security issues. So it demotivates other tuition providers to invest in online service as well, provision. I was speaking to a colleague, tuition provider, and he said, you know, with online, it's really threatening our business, because if the videos leaks, it may happen. Some students do not come to class because of the videos. But again, we believe that if the private candidate window will be blocked, of which there are some efforts that NBAA has started on that, but if it will be blocked, it will encourage most of us, because there's no way that a candidate will go to register in the NBAA without saying the center that he has been trained. And again, if most of us join in this niche, and that is the policy, so, and the board will mandate, like, allowing you to approve whether he or she is your student, you know, like, oh, no, this stole a technology of mine, and he's not my student, but he's just opting to say, like, I'm studying under your center. So that is something we really plead that NBA should look at it carefully. Key management issues as far as online classes are concerned. One, we are saying those embarking online should ensure compliance issues. You do it perfectly the first time. Guess what? For our side, we even wrote a letter to TCRA just to ask them whether we are falling in any category that needs subscription to them, to make sure that we are doing it perfectly. But again, there is what is called NBAA, guideline for online CPA review classes that has been approved by the board. It has a lot of provisions. It's good to make sure that you meet those provisions before embarking to online. And
Another issue, this is just a guideline extract. It's easily accessible, NBAA website, just Google guideline for online review classes, you will get it. We're saying one of the issue that you should look at it. No person shall be allowed to conduct online CPA review classes without prior approval by the board. Of course, much as this is an industry that is growing, it's at its introductory stage, you find most of us doing some form of online, possibly without being approved by the board, which is wrong. So again, I think one thinking of that should also go through the so-called criteria or guideline. The second issue, key management issue here for us in this business, calling it business, on the other side it's a service to the community. In this service provision is consideration to team members. Here I mean the team that you are using, the contracts that you enter with team members. I rather call them partners, because the other challenge with our business is very transparent. Everyone knows the number of candidates, the instructor knows how much the candidates are paying. He can even prorate, because this might be some issues that we do not want to hear. Let me go to another point. Again, transparent and straightforward agreement, similar, more or less similar to what I was saying with partners. Building a reliable teamwork of facilitators and supporting staff. When you go online, at times there are those system failures, and your users may even become furious at times. So if you do not have supporting staff that can calm students while you are working seriously, or if you have not hired an IT expert, someone who is really committed to do that, to bring up back the system. And guess what? Maybe it is 1 week before the exam. Remember, there was at times we were sleepless for almost 2 days because the system had some disruption. And each time you receive calls from students, so that is it again. Customer care is key for online business, because we are saying students and all that, but customer care again is very important. And student motivation and follow-up. Online is very suitable for those students who are self-motivated. Again, this is something I should insist. But for those whom you need to push them, follow-up is very important. And even sometimes asking them, how far have you gone? Where are you? In which topic? Hey, because if again this student will not perform, it has an implication to you as a provider. Like, you registered students, there are so many students and are taking classes under your center, but they are failing. Why? So something may be suspicious. So student motivation and follow-up is very important. Ensure reliability when the system goes down. I think I've spoken about this one way or another. And availability to handle challenges. It's very hectic when you have a systemic challenge that affects all users at the same time. But when it is a one student challenge, at least it's a bit relatively easy. Compensation and motivation to team members is again another area as a managerial issue to be looked at. Again, for someone to be more committed, more or less likely, that compensation has to be in a continued form, because students will benefit from the online lectures in a long run. So even the compensation should be in a long run. This is just a suggested way, because each person has his own way of managing his or her center. So we're just sharing experiences, and that's what we have been asked to do. Way forward is what Sandra said earlier on, and even the presenter before Sandra said, technology is something at our doorstep. We may shout, but we cannot avoid it. We may be running away from it. We may say bad words about it, but so far where we are, we cannot avoid it. And we were initially worried even to use projectors in classes, CBA classes. We thought the traditional method, because the earlier presenter
said it the otherwise, but I think I will differ slightly here. We were even worried to use the handouts, the PowerPoint. But later on, we realized if we give them the PowerPoints in advance and they take note on the PowerPoints, helps even going faster, and they have take-home things that they can go practice at their own time. Unless you are sure like they do not have time to practice and you want them to write each and everything. But thank God, with PowerPoint, like what we are doing here, you can make life more easy. And again, embracing IT is doing justice to our students and a significant contribution towards the development of our profession and country at large. So a necessary evil, again, possibly one can call it that way, or a blessing in disguise, whatsoever you call it, but there is no way. Again, another issue, way forward, improving security issues, and here we are saying though IT is generally prone to security threats, and I said it earlier, but you know that some students record voice notes in our physical classes session, and sometimes others even set cameras and record us teaching. So if someone really wants to play with security, you know, to copy your videos and your teaching methodologies, it's now very easy. You may even protect them being downloadable, but some people can do screen record. They can put the laptop. So these are the challenges that are here, yet we have to embrace something that is bringing a lot of challenges. We cannot avoid that. So again, the regulator to consider mandating private, and this is speaking this in a very serious tune, but again, thank God the chair of NBAA, Professor Sylvia Temu, is very considerate, and she said that we should take our concerns and put them in writing. And Humphrey has been doing a very great job in being a linkage and NBAA secretariat in its totality. So I think one of the things that will really protect us, given the stage we are in now, and the fact that maybe most of us here will also join the online provision, is to limit private candidates and to give tuition providers mandate to say, hey, this is my student, this is not my student. And this can even go in line with stating the minimum tuition fee at your own convenience. So again, another issue is effective functioning of our association. Chairman just said those who wish to register, but I wish it shouldn't be the so-called a request. It should be mandatory. Like someone wants to register for provision of online classes, you should get the blessing of the association, and the association has to function for the common interest of the member and to try to balance the interest of the students as well. This is what we are insisting, and our chair has been in the front line on that, and even the area providers here, I know them, Rashid Edson and others as well from Arusha. I see my friend, where is he? We have been having some efforts to make the association work, but I think it's more than 3 to 4 years now we are struggling on some issues. And if you look carefully, black and white being spoken here, you find that some differences and everyone trying to protect own interests rather than the interest of profession, maybe are some issues that make our association not functioning. But I thank God Chair has been very strong, and hopefully others will join, and we will protect the common interest, not for our own sake, for the sake of this profession. Another thing that is also a way forward, I think it's important to enhance our business ideas and work as a team. I was just speaking to the chair, Melezi, and I said it very clearly that I adore him, the trainings that he's doing in Dubai. Sometimes he's arranging and organizing. I get his emails, I don't know what about others. Why not us? We are the ones who have command in this profession. Are we really going to operate at the level that we are operating and then just sit back and relax and say we're doing justice to the profession? And most of these students trust us. I'm lucky also here, I have lots of my students. I'm very happy to see them today, and I think most of them I had to greet them before coming here, and in a very unique way, because she's a lady, I have to recognize her. Very proud of her. She, Adelaide, I think, yeah. So again, it is at least bringing the balance and all other levels as well in our profession, because back then we were being blamed, like most of trainers, the gender, you look at it, they're in the main gender. So again, we have some efforts. We have an institute, CIAT, Covenant Institute of Accounting and Technology, but we're also looking at opportunities, some opportunities in Zanzibar. So again, we have those classes. We're trying to do what we can do, at least to go to the levels we are supposed to be. Otherwise, not remaining where we are each year. Service motive should come first again. Financial gain is secondary, although I'm not sure if we really leave this, but something that I have to say as a way forward. Another issue is there is a need to consider, I'm repeating this, I think the third time, discouraging private candidates. This has also advocated in the Article 1.1 paragraph 3 of the NBAA guideline for online review classes that was published in that. But this will not only minimize security threats for online programs, but also encourage other tutors to join the platform. Most important, likely to improve the quality of our graduates. Let me speak this one. Technology will not replace the relevance of a Twitter. That's what I believe. And why do I believe that technology will not replace the relevance of Twitter? Even with all the videos, the very same students call us and ask us, where are you in the physical provision? Tell me, what can I do to make sure I catch up? All right, without that being in touch with a Twitter, and you're mentoring someone and you want him to have an impact in the profession, it's more or less likely that we're going to have the quality graduates we desire. And I humbly wish to submit, particularly on this area, that we need to reconsider this one and allow people who invest their energy, people who invest their resources, people who subscribe to a particular technology just for the sake, who risk recording themselves for the sake of the profession, should at least benefit from that one as well. Another extract from the guideline. The implementation of these guidelines and approval of online tuition providers entail that the number of private candidates is reduced or eliminated altogether. This is in the guideline that you guys have. So again, please reconsider that. The board shall monitor member of private candidates as an indicator of and all that. Then again, while compliance is important, there's something else here which really, can I use this word and put it in bracket, meaning that I'm attaching the intended meaning, really torture us as tweeters. We agree that compliance is important, and so far we are doing all we can to comply with the 5%, but we insist that there is a need to reconsider the 5% arrangement being withheld by tweeters and submitted to NBAA. The administration of this is really difficult to us. So again, it's our cry, and I know they know, but please, we humbly submit that. Unless you guys set the minimum fee. You know what is happening right now in the different providers? Of course, we are also forced to join that race. Some providers promise to teach for free, given that the student, of course, we are using the criteria of scholarship, again, which is attracting some students for ranking purposes. But my point here is, sometimes we have to be one and protect the common interest and make sure that we reach where we are. Unless minimum fee is set, but otherwise the head count, sometimes you have many students, some of them are your relatives, some of them, imagine Sandra's sister coming to my review class. Do you think I will charge her? We know what we normally, no, this is my blockchain teacher, so I have to give her a free. So the 5% should be reconsidered.